Hi. So, Trump has decided to raise the tariffs for the U.S. It's like he said it's gonna be at 10%. So I thought it was gonna be like 20 or 30%. So it's not a lot, but it's not like 5% or 2% or 3%. So it's like we should expect the tariffs to be raised in clothing and food. He said he's not raising tariffs on cell phones, computers, and tablets. So I mean, if you know you're getting a tablet, computer, or cell phone, your tariffs are not going to be raised. So it's not going to be raised a lot of money. Those things are expensive, but you know that the tariffs are not going to be placed on those expensive items, and you're actually going to pay the price that wait for what you get. The problem is that food and clothing is going to be expensive, and the tariffs are going to be raised on food and clothing, 10%. I think it's 10% that's going to be raised. I think that's what I heard. But like food, you buy like two bags of groceries and it's like $100. No, you buy like 3 or 4 bags of food and it's like $100 to $150. It's like you buy 6 bags of food, it's like $200. This is crazy. It's like how much groceries have increased. And before you could get items like for $50, $100 on a weekly basis, depending if on you're single, how much things are you getting. I mean, how much food. If you're at work, like how much are you eating? I mean, it's crazy. I mean, your Costco, your Target, grocery outlet, Trader Joe's, Food Max, Lucky's, Albertsons, Mi Tierra, Mi Pueblo, mm, things like that. But it's like clothes is getting more expensive. So you're someone that likes to shop a lot, like a shopaholic. Know that your clothing is going to be 10% more expensive on tariffs on your final bill, not on the clothes, or maybe in the clothes. I don't know. I think on the final bill. It's crazy, but those are the things I've heard. The deportations are crazy too. It's like he's deporting a lot of immigrant people, immigrant and undocumented people, and it's like these I'm Salvadorian, so it's like he's sending Venezuelans and criminals and like Salvadoran criminals to El Salvador. And it's like I'm not gonna put an opinion to this because I don't want to be biased or partial, but it's like Bukele is a president in my country, and it's like he has done a lot of work to like clean up the country, but there's also some things he's done a lot, but I'm just not gonna comment on it. But it's like I think that they said that the criminal activity has decreased a lot. So it's like Trump just deported Salvadoran criminals and Venezuelan criminals and migrants, supposedly criminals, right? That's what he says. It's like uh, immigrant people, undocumented people. It's like, if he's sending criminals and undocumented people to like El Salvador, it's like it's making it worse because they had already cleaned up the streets in El Salvador. Like not too much criminal activity was going on anymore. Not too many gang members were not too many gang issues were going on because of what he's doing in the country. But it's like if he's sending more criminals, it's like adding to the problem of gang activity and criminality in the country. That's what happened with Three Strikes You're Out a long time ago. They did the Three Strikes You're Out law. So it's like when you have three of criminal offenses, you undocumented people get sent to their country. They get deported back to their country, and that added a lot of criminality in foreign countries. That's how what happened in El Salvador. In El Salvador. Once Three Strikes You're Out hit, then that's how gang member. There was already a little bit of gang activity, but that's how a lot of gang members were starting in El Salvador because they were deporting gang members from MS-13 and MS-18 to El Salvador. To El Salvador, and it's like, so they started making those people. A lot of those gang members started making a lot of gangs in El Salvador. The gang problem increased, and it became a real issue for a long, more than 10 years. It became a real gang issue in El Salvador. And it's like, it started with I heard, I'm not sure if it's true, but I think it's true. The three strikes are out when they deported a lot of gang members and that criminals and supposedly criminals, but then that added to the problem of gang activity in Central America. It wasn't only El Salvador because the Mara Salvador, MS-13, MS-18 were all over Central America and some parts of Mexico. I mean, that's what happened in a lot of the foreign countries. It's like a lot of criminality because of the strict strikes are out, because they were deporting supposed criminals and people who had I mean, that's what they said happened, but like it's crazy. And also the countries don't know how to deal with the problem of criminality and gang issues. That might be one thing, you know. Um, he was doing. He has the thing where he has. Joe Biden ended the war in Gaza, Hamas. Now they're doing the negotiations to what's gonna happen with the peace treaties and stuff. This is gonna happen to Hamas and Gaza. But the thing is that I heard that this guy was saying how like, yeah, it's Trump who's doing the negotiations. So it's not gonna be the best thing because he's a Republican. He's a Republican. He's not a Democrat. So whatever negotiation is gonna be a Republican measure that how he does the measures in Gaza and Hamas for the negotiations. It's like, what do you expect the Republican president to do? I mean, do a Democratic or progressive or socialist measure in another country peace treaties when like he's a Republican? All these conservative measures might go out with the peace treaties. Like, I'm not sure how much of how much open Donald Trump is to like foreign policy and things like that. You know what I mean? He has done the Gulf of America. He doesn't want to call it the Gulf of Mexico anymore. He wants to call it the Gulf of America. It's like, I mean, like, it's like that's what Mexico's being. Their pride is Gulf of Mexico. That is the Gulf of Mexico. So now Donald Trump is like the Gulf of America because Mexico is part of North America, Central America, and South America. So it's like North America and Mexico. Mexico is part of North America. So it's like he's calling it Gulf of America. That's his thing. That's America. And you know how a lot of things is like, what is North America? A lot of people's take on it is that North America and South America is like, it's America. It's like America. The whole thing is America. Everybody's American. Like the Manas, Los Tigres del Norte song, somos más americanos. Somos, I mean, no, it's America. Los Tigres del Norte have a song called America, and somos más americanos. But it's like, the concept of America is like there's North America, Central America, and South America. So the whole continent is called America. So it's like everybody's an American. And you know how the U.S. says we're American? It's like, I'm not being conservative. I'm not being Republican or Democrat. I'm just saying facts from what I learned in Latino studies when I was in college. So the thing is, like, United States calls themselves Americans, and it's like they're Central America and they're South America, and they're Latinx. And the thing is, like, the Caribbean too, but it's not America. It's not really America. But like, everybody's an American. So it's like South Americans, Central Americans, and North America. So it's like Donald Trump's concept is this North America, United States, Canada, and Mexico. So that's why he's calling it the Gulf of America. I'm not being conservative or Republican. I'm just stating the facts. And Mexico, this is the battle that's going on between Mexico and the United States about Gulf of America and Gulf of Mexico. The thing is that, like, Mexico is saying that it's part of Mexico. It's always been the Gulf of Mexico. Why change it? Why change it if it's always been a part of Mexico? Why change the Gulf of Mexico when it's Mexican territory. It's not American territory, even though the whole continent, North America, Central America, and South America, is called America. Everybody's an American, not just the U.S. You get it? Crazy. He has been doing a lot of different things. He just said that transgender people are not allowed in women's sports. That supposedly men, because he thinks that transgender men cannot compete in women's sports. It's like, it's like he's been having a lot of Republican and conservative measures. It's like he said that like a man, what he calls a man, a transgender, which is actually a transgender, cannot compete in women's sports. So he's not allowing transgender people to compete in women's sports. I mean, like, it's like, do you believe that a transgender could compete in women's sports? Was this what he thinks is a man, but it's actually a woman? Of course, because he's a transgender, it's like that's what they're saying right now. It's like is the question they're posing to everybody. Do you think a transgender should compete in women's sports? They're not saying men's sports. They're saying women's sports. You're putting, because they think that a transgender woman is a man. So it's like, do you think it's correct? I mean, like, I think it's a transgender, but it's like, is it correct that they're gonna put a transgender in women's sports? This is what this whole his dilemma is about. That he was putting, I forgot what the other, that English is the official language of the United States, and that everybody should speak English. The official language is English. So if you're not speaking English, it's not the official language. And you know how many languages are in the United States? It's like a melting pot, and it's like there's so many fucking cultures and stuff, and it's like so many languages. It's like he said that English is the official language of the United States. Everybody should speak English, and that's crazy. But anyhow, I just think that like fucking Trump been doing a lot. In the first 2 months, he had already done like 20 something fucking measures, executive orders. The first time he did 13 orders. So I don't know how many executive orders he signed. It's already the 4th month, and he's already done a lot. It's gonna be 4 years of this shit, and he's done a lot. And they keep saying, you know, Trump is on. It's Donald Trump is getting worse than the first time around. It's only the first time around. By the first 30, he had a 30-day plan. When he entered the presidency in 2016, he had a 30-day plan, and he had already all the points he had in that 30-day plan, and they said he mostly succeeded in implementing those points in the 30 points in the 30-day plan. By the first 30 days, he had already drawn the measures and everything, drafted the measures and everything. So it's like he did a lot for 2016, but it's like it's still conservative measures and very Republican. But it's like he is doing a lot, starting with the deportations of people, and he's doing a lot. But it's like, you know, 4 fucking years of this shit? How are people gonna stand it? You know? I don't know how are people gonna stand this shit. But I don't know. 4 fucking years of Donald Trump. It's like they're already worried that he implemented the real ID, or Joe Biden did with the passport and everything. They have until June 15 to get the real ID and passport. Everybody, even though you don't need to travel, you have to get a real ID and passport. Everybody has to get a real ID. Not the passport. I think you have to get a passport. I'm not too sure. But everybody has to go get the real ID. So everybody has to go to the DMV by June 15 and get the real ID. They've had a 3 fucking year deadline to get the real ID. And that's June 15 where they have to go and get the real ID. Everybody in the United States have to have a real ID. And it's crazy because my dilemma is like, are undocumented people getting a real ID? Because it's like, passport is like, Have you seen the requirements to get the real ID? You have to have a passport. You have to have this documentation. You have to have this. Is like undocumented people don't have passports and stuff. They don't have documentation. I don't know like how they're doing it. That's my question. I haven't looked it up. But it's like, are undocumented people getting already? Because I know that in California, people were already getting driver's license. Undocumented people were already getting driver's license. Is like with I don't think they needed a passport because they can't even travel. They don't have documents. But it's like my question is like for real ID, do they need a passport or documents and stuff? It's crazy. I need somebody to answer that question for. I have documentation, but it's like I wanted to know that. I wanted to. That was my first question: are documented people getting real IDs? Anyways, I'll leave you at that. Thank you.